Great, good morning again, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Scholar Program, whether you want to call it International Scholar Program or Global Scholar Program. It's basically bringing people together from around the world and learning and sharing and building community globally. So very exciting group. And basically, I think a lot of you might wonder, what is it that these scholars do? You see them at the conference here, but actually this is the very end, I hate to say it, this is the last few days of what has been a 5.5-week journey for them. They arrived in mid-June. They had 3.5 weeks of GIS training, including mostly at UC Davis. And then on the 3rd of July, right before the 4th of July, they flew down to Redlands and spent several days there. They've been learning from, I'll talk a little bit more about that curriculum and what they've been learning. But then, of course, they get to attend the Esri User Conference in San Diego. And then, of course, they're here. They get a technology grant, including books and hardware. They all got a laptop to take home with them that was donated. So they get software, a laptop, and of course, I think they have a good time while they're here too. I think there's a little bit of that goes on. And as Healy was saying, we're approaching that 500 scholar mark. As far as my accounting went, I had 486, but so I think next year we're going to top over that 500 mark. But it's we're so happy every year to have our scholars here with us for this program. So I really want to point out that John Schaefer's commitment to this program over a very long time, he's not with us here today. He's in Bend, Oregon, enjoying the weather and his bike riding and all of those great things. John has been so committed to this program for, I think he started in 2009, teaching for this program fairly exclusively. I mean, meaning that he was the main core instructor starting that year with, of course, other instructors as well, including Miriam and Rena, who had been teaching a lot of the more up-to-date technology, the recent technology, pro and online and those kinds of things. So John has developed a great curriculum. He's also really been spearheading the Train the Trainer program, which I'll talk about more in just a second. So again, a real shout out to John. He's not here. Hope he's watching, maybe live streaming in his Bend, in the beauty of his Bend home. I don't know, but let's give a big thanks to John. And of course to Miriam. Where's Miriam? Miriam. Yes, there's Miriam. Rena's not here, but Miriam, thank you. She's also been wonderful in training and working with the scholars. So they have a pretty crazy schedule. So if you want to look at this, they arrived in somewhere around the 10th, 11th, or 12th of June, except for I think Jackson arrived a little later because of a little visa problem, but that's okay. And I have to give a shout out to Khalid, who got his passport renewed and his visa all in the span of 5 days or something. A very late joiner to the program. But they made it here. They went through all of these various training programs, and notice I was away in Malta the first week for my job. So I wasn't there all the time, and then Carlitos arrived a little bit later, and then Mervyn did something. But we had a team. We had various different people doing different things, but we really made this happen. So it is not one person. It is not two people. It is a team of people that lead to the success of this program. Much as Healy was saying about SCGIS in general, this is the core of that team effort and that community building that happens. So again, we're sort of in the unfortunately, we're on that bottom row. I know you guys must be getting very sad. It's always so hard to leave. That they'll be most of them will be heading home in a couple of days. So this is sort of the slide of thank yous, and I didn't get everybody on here. I'm sorry to say. Without SCGIS and Jack Dangerman, without and Esri and Jack Dangerman, SCGIS, UC Davis provides a lot of the support and the lab. some of these people you may not have heard of. Who is Ripley McChesney? Well, she's a student who just graduated from Humboldt State, who lives in Davis, who came every day to the lab, who was helping the scholars, who was taking them interesting places in Davis. So you know, there's just these unsung heroes, and again, many of whom you don't know, the homestay families in Davis and in Redlands. Lisa Pierce and Betsy Convis is here somewhere. Bettina McLeod, Betsy Convis, same person. Anyway, she also helped with getting everyone around and settled and picked up from the airport and all those kinds of things. And of course, Carlitos and Mervyn. I really want to give a huge shout out to them. They came from very far. Mervyn, I think, came from one of the farthest places, all the way from South Africa to help. He's been instructing, and Carlitos also. So without them, we couldn't have done this year. So again, a big shout out to Mervyn and Carlitos. Stand up, stand up. Come on, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. And of course, Charles, he hates being singled out, but without Charles, I like, you know, whenever we hear about the father of GIS, we hear of Roger Tomlinson. And I always think of Charles as the father of SCGIS. So he's kind of been the core for so long. And he's hiding. He's hiding over there. There's Charles. Okay. He hates the spotlight. There he is. There he is. Okay, okay.
SCGIS Jesus, right?
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of the selection process for SCGIS happens globally. So we have these chapters from all over who contribute to the whole process. So this was not just me and a couple people saying, oh, gee, who should be a part of this program? It's all over. And isn't that a great map projection, right? That's the Sasha Yumakayev map projection. He came up with that a couple years ago. And also, I do have to give a shout out to Sasha, who ran this program so successfully for so many years and is always a part of our family. So, yay, Sasha. His map projection will live on. I will always use this map projection to show these maps. So, you know, there's different perspectives, right? This is a group effort as well. There are chapters in most of these places. There are also some prospective chapters coming up. India, Ukraine, we have SCGIS scholars from those countries who are already working on starting up chapters. Canada, come on, Canada. We've been talking about that too. Go Canada. Okay. Okay.
From Canada, talk to me more about starting SCGIS chapters.
There we go. There we go. And Leslie Backus, who many of you know, is still living in Bhutan, and she's and I'm going there in about 3 weeks and going to be staying with her, and we're going to be working on the Bhutan chapter. So these are still building, and it's getting bigger and bigger. So what I want to do now is take a moment to meet the scholars. So I'm going to go through, this is a story map that Fernanda from Ecuador made, and it's going to come up, I know it. It's not, because this is, okay. Do I have to close this? Okay, hang on. There it is, okay, I knew I could make it happen. Okay, so this is basically the story map she created. I'm going to make it full screen, and she gives credit here to instructors and various people, and then I'm going to actually just go straight though to the scholars. So we're going to start with Carlos. So please just stand up, name, country, and just a sentence about what you do.
Hello everybody, I'm Carlos Delgado. I'm from Colombia. I work at University CES in Medellin, and I basically working on urban ecology and conservation. Thank you.
Great. In the interest of time, let's hold the clapping till the end. Okay, so we'll go through this really, really quickly, then we'll give a huge clap for all of them. Okay, so Noelia.
Hi, I'm Noelia Volpe from Argentina, and I'm a PhD student working on the reintroduction of red and green magmas.
And Jackson. Jackson.
My name is Jackson Katambi. I'm a senior veterinary officer from Zambia. I work with a lot of land mammals, more recently pangolins and rhinos.
Okay, and then we have Bob.
Hello everyone, my name is Bob Mandinyanya. I'm from Zimbabwe. I've been working with the African Lion Environmental Research Trust in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Basically been overseeing their research and conservation projects, also majoring in human wildlife conflict mitigation.
And I have to give just a little more about Bob in that he is actually in kind of a dual role. He's also been kind of a lab assistant, so he's been carrying on a role of really being a helper as well. He was a Humphrey Fellow last year this past year at Cornell University, so he's been on that helping side as well. And Inata.
Hello, my name is Enata. I'm from Rwanda. I study chimpanzees in Nyungwe National Park, and I just finished my master's in New Hampshire at Antioch University, New England.
Okay. Okay, Nelson. I know you all want to clap so badly. It's really hard to stop.
Hello, I'm Nelson Mondi from Kenya, and I work with Save the Elephants, mostly specializing in movement ecology and landscape ecology using building and tracking data.
Okay, and
Hello, I'm Dipendu. I'm a PhD student in Wildlife Institute of India, and I have been working on tigers and striped hyenas in India. And if you want to know more about my work, please attend my talk tomorrow. And we are also trying to form the SCGIS India chapter. So if you want to talk about that, you are welcome. Thank you.
okay, that was terrestrial wildlife. Now we're moving on to marine wildlife. So we'll start with Cecilia.
Hello everyone, my name is Cecilia Pasadore. I'm from Uruguay. I'm a marine biologist specialized in marine mammals. I just finished my PhD in Australia a couple of months ago.
Great. Dr. Cecilia. Hey, Miss.
Hi, my name is Agnesia. I'm also a marine biologist. I'm from Italy, but I work on a lot of different places, mostly on marine biology.
And Oksana.
Hello everybody, I'm Oksana Savenko from Ukraine. I study marine mammals in Black Sea and also in Antarctic Peninsula region. Yes, so I'm going to present Ukrainian as SCGIS community, and we are hoping to have a new chapter.
Great. All right. And then on to traditional ecological knowledge and Animesh.
Sorry, I'm Animesh from Bangladesh, and I'm working with my organization as wildlife biologist. So working on the conservation of the last remaining rainforest in Bangladesh, and our main focus on mammals and reptiles, particularly on pangolin, Burmese python, tortoise, and cat species. Thank you.
And Tim.
Hello everyone, my name is Tim Jordan, and I'm from Myanmar, and I'm working with the Wildlife Conservation Society Myanmar program. Thank you.
And Lei.
Good morning everyone, my name is Long Lei. I'm from Wildlife Conservation Society Cambodia, and I am a law enforcement and smart coordinator, and I work closely with the government of Cambodia to support the ranger to collect the field data from the protected area. And currently WCS works to support 9 protected areas in Cambodia. Yeah.
Great. And you are good, you get the A+ for projecting your voice very loudly. Thank you, Lang. It's great. Okay, Sean.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean Bragg. I'm from New Zealand. I work for my local tribe in New Zealand, Te Rūnanga o Maitaku. So I have a junior GIS position, and a lot of our GIS is based around maintaining cultural heritage. We do conservation, fisheries reserves, and a whole lot of stuff. So I love my job and very happy to be here.
Sean, by the way, had to take 2 final exams the first week he was here, which Mervyn had to be the proctor. So that's dedication, right? Coming all the way to here and taking your final exams while you're in a different country. So. Okay, so natural resource conservation, we are management and conservation. So Fernanda, the creator of this map, okay, the creator of this story map, Fernanda.
Thank you. My name is Fernanda Gonzalez. I am from Ecuador. I am interested in conservation management and in conservation projects. I work with monitoring and evaluation And I love this story because you can reach out all kind of communities and audiences.
And Fernanda just got a new job that's going to take her to great places for UNDP in Quito in Ecuador. So just to give her a little shout out, she's doing great things, continues to do great things. Okay, and then we have Alex.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alex from Greenpeace Romania. I am working in the forest campaign, and right now we're trying to identify primary forests using remote sensing and GIS techniques. Thank you.
And Durga.
Hi, good morning. My name is Dirga from Indonesia. I'm working for WWF Indonesia for Marine and Fisheries Program. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, gratefulness. So there's a whole section here where the scholars are, there's some quotes about them saying thank you and talking about the program. So thank you again, Fernanda, for putting that together. So I also want to say that, and that's for all of you. That was the clapping for all of the scholars. Fernanda, it wasn't just for you, but yeah. So I want to just say that you can find this story map and read more about them. There's also 3 other places where you can find information about the scholars. There's the SCGIS webpage, GeoNet, and there's actually scholar videos. So I think in the interest of time, oops, it went to the scholar video page. I didn't mean for it to, but anyway, so Charles has been taking videos of the scholars talking about their programs. So there's a website for that. Actually, it's not showing, it's showing on my screen and not yours. So I hate PowerPoint sometimes. Okay, so, but please, there are those other places where you can learn more about the scholars, and I'll make those available on social media. Yes, okay, with help. I'm not good at social media. Okay, so just a shout out to the Train the Trainer program that was initiated by Juniper GIS really in about 2011. This brings together the past scholars. So Aria has been the Train the Trainer this year. She's not going to stand up, she's going to wave her hand. Aria from New Zealand was a scholar last year, and she is now a certified trainer. And then Mervyn, actually, through his participation this year, has become a master Train the Trainer. So he can train people to be Train the Trainers. How's that? Like, yeah. Okay. Then just to show where all the various trainers live, again, the great Sasha map projection. So there are people all over the world who are doing this training and reaching out and building the community around the globe. Yeah. Woo. And classes are being taught all over the world. So these, since 2007, about 900 students have been taught and reached throughout all these places. So again, there's a lot going on, and we hope to have even more. Next year, we want to have this, like the whole globe filled up, right? No free space, all teaching going on. With that, I want to say a very big thank you. The scholars, thank you. This is one of my favorite photos in the corner. You might recognize some people in that photo, but that was in Old Sacramento where they did those photos. So we had whale watching, we had a trip to Google, we had a meeting Jack and Laura Dangerman, and then we had tie-dye shirts in Davis. So look in the auction, there'll be a couple tie-dye items there perhaps. So anyway, again, thank you very much. Thank you from and to the scholars. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Michelle. Michelle. Where's Michelle? Yay, Michelle. Okay, thank you. There's one person I forgot to shout out to, and that is Andy Lyons. Where's Andy? Andy's in the back. Okay, Andy came for 2 or 3 days straight to the San Francisco airport and met the scholars when they arrived. I was in Malta, I wasn't going to be able to do it, and John was busy. So anyway, Andy, just bless your soul, you came, you met everybody, you helped everybody, even until 1 o'clock in the morning one night. So again, thank you, Andy. That's, again, SCGIS.